Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
From the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Welcome, everybody, to the live stream. How's it going, guys? I'm your host, Ashton. Oh, sorry, hold on. What the hell was wrong with my chair? I hope you guys are having a great night tonight, guys. So tonight's going to be a little bit different attitude than normal, but I think I know why you guys are all excited. If you've been watching my social media, you've seen that we have been popping the fuck off. We have been popping off. Today, I just posted a video of a non-equilibrium plasma. We're going to get to it. Before we get to that, guys, we're going to watch anime. You heard me correct. We're going to watch anime together. 4 minutes is all you have to suffer through. Let's just get right to it, guys. As I play this, I want to set the stage. It's probably my favorite anime of all time, Attack on Titan. The analogy of this clip that I'm going to play for you right now is imagine that there's a group of people that are hiding unlimited power from us and that we find out the truth and we decide, screw it. We're not going along with their plan anymore. Here we go. Let's fucking go. Chat, let's go. God damn, that gets me hyped. God damn, that gets me hyped, chat. Yes, Ashton is that girl. Because you know what? You know what? Today they announced that they're searching for MH370 again. And you know what? I just watched that and I just said, all these people, someone out there on this planet is hiding free energy from us. They have taken our entire past and they have stolen our future from us. And they're doing it for selfish reasons. I don't give a shit what their reasons are. I can't stand humanity anymore. If we wipe ourselves out, so be it. Then that's what we deserve. I'm not going to sit here and be lied to by a bunch of freaking monsters that are just doing whatever the hell they want and have rationalized their deceit to us. Screw that. The truth wants to be free. So, the MH370 research that's going on, they're not going to find shit. They're not going to find anything. We know that plane got teleported out of the sky. We've got 2 military videos in perfect synchronization that have coordinates in them of the real location of the plane in the Nicobar Islands. Nobody wants to believe it. Well, too bad. I don't give a shit. We're just going to figure out exactly how it works, and then we're going to make a doomsday weapon. And we'll just give it to the people. And then we'll just see how long we last. My guess is we don't last very long. And if that's what our fate is, then that's what our fate's going to be. Let me play the videos. I wanted to have them queued up, but I wasn't quite ready. Oh, here it is. Okay. For the people that somehow haven't seen these videos, the fact that everybody's been ignoring these videos, the UFO community, the people in the MH370 search, it's pretty obvious why they've been ignoring these videos. We're looking at classified sensor information from our spy satellites on the left. On the right, we're looking at a drone. We are looking at exotic vacuum objects. They're balls of plasma. This is not a hologram that we're looking at. Those are real balls of plasma. with extremely powerful charge. This is a super weapon. This is a super weapon. This is why nobody will talk about these videos, because they've either been told not to or they know not to. This is why Elon Musk won't talk about it. This is why Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are running interference. This is why all the UFO woke disclosure people this is what they're protecting. You are staring at what all these clowns are protecting. They are protecting this for national security. They are hiding free energy from us. They covered up cold fusion. Do you guys understand? The thing that pisses me off the most is hiding science and hiding technology from not just the American people, but the entire world. Can you imagine how evil you have to be to do this to an airplane that has 239 people on board? There's no justifying this. I know they're going to try, but let's be honest. If they had at least come clean about why they did this to the plane to prevent China from getting the technology 10 years ago, then maybe we would have dealt with it. The fact that they covered this up for 10 years, and they've probably been covering up free energy for like 100 years from us, there's no excuse for that. Death penalty. Death penalty for the people that were hiding, committing crimes against humanity, committing war crimes. Absolutely disgusting. Hey, guys. Hey, Loomer Fan Club's in the chat. How you guys doing? Okay. Let's get right to it. First thing I want to show you guys today. So if you're not familiar, guys, the MH370 videos are real, and the science is real too. The science is real too. Okay? And that's the most important part. Just a couple days ago, we were looking at, where is it? Crap, did I lose it? This one? No. Weird. I might have lost the link. Okay, just a couple days ago, we were looking at Larry Reed's quantum wave mechanics textbook, and he was explaining how gravity is produced. So I want to go ahead and show you as well, once again, Larry Reed's LinkedIn. Is this going to dox me? Hold on, let me look. No, I don't think so. So the guy that wrote the quantum wave mechanics textbook that explains gravity and the unification of the forces, Lockheed Martin contractor for 24 years. 24 years. Let that sink in for a second. Ben Rich of Lockheed Martin says, anything you can imagine, we already have the capability to do. Lockheed Martin is hiding the secrets, no doubt, no question. When I say I know the science is real, it's because we've figured out the science. If you've been following, you know it's all based on zero-point energy. The idea of the ether, the Planck ether, as Winterberg would have said, who was a literal Project Paperclip scientist that studied under Werner Heisenberg. Absolutely incredible. Crap, what was I going to say? So, this, man, here's my thing here. So today, I want to talk about plasmas, guys. And the reason why I didn't just jump straight into how we take these weapons and annihilate people is I'm actually not sure about the legality of disclosing how to make a thermonuclear warhead. Because when you look into nukes, you realize it's not just fission, but it's fusion that's happening as well. In fact, I'm starting to think that hydrogen bombs might actually be manipulating cold fusion themselves. We are going to speculate a little bit in terms of how we could turn those videos, the MH370 videos and the technology we see there, into a doomsday weapon, but we're going to probably peel back on going as far as we can. So let's just get right into it. Wait, I took some notes here. Hold on. Okay. So the next thing I want to show you guys is the clip from Twitter. Or from, actually, you know what? I think we can just show it on the original here. So in the description, I put a link to this chat. We now have the first video that I've seen that shows ball lightning. Real, artificial, ball lightning, the real deal, no doubt. I knew this would be out there somewhere. I didn't realize that we would be able to find it this easily. So, right off the bat, this is an account that has 33 followers. Or something like that. Like 33 followers, 56,000 views. This video is from 15 years ago. This video right here is from 15 years ago. Here we go. Whoa! Okay, I'm going to show you the ball lightning, guys, is this little dot in the bottom left. There's a little white dot above this blue thing here. That's the ball lightning. That's how small it is. It's tiny. What you're seeing on the wall is the projection of what it looks like when it's bigger. Okay? So if you see down here in the bottom left, you see this white little dot right there? That white little dot you're seeing right there in the middle of the screen right there, on the bottom left of the screen over here, or towards the middle, that's the ball lightning. It's literally suspended in midair, floating just like that. These are femtosecond lasers that are producing this. I'm going to show a clip of Salvatore Pais in a second. There it is. There's your ball lightning. You're staring at it right there. That white dot is the ball lightning. Yeah, it's a cute little ball lightning. It's really cute. I mean, it's not as cute when you can teleport stuff away with it and potentially make a Doomsday weapon, but it does look pretty cute right there. I believe they're intersecting lasers here, but I'm not 100% sure. Presumably what they're doing is they're creating an interference pattern with the lasers crossing the streams, and then they're able to produce this. And then it's projected onto the wall so that they can see how large, what it would actually look like. Now, why is this important? This is important because look at that right there. Look at what we're looking at right there. Remember how everybody's saying that, oh, you're just looking at stars and what have you, when people take these videos or these pictures of these balls of energy they're seeing in the sky? Look at that. Look at that right there. I'm going to pause it. Wow. Wow. Of course, ball lightning looks like a star. Of course it looks like a star. Because stars are literally balls of plasma. Exactly. It looks like a sun. So when you hear these debunkers constantly saying bullshit like, oh, that's just Venus, or that's just a star that somebody's got out of focus or whatever, there's literally no way to distinguish. That's exactly how ball lightning looks as well. Look at it. You're staring at the real deal right here. This is why prosaic explanations have no merit. You can always say something looks like something else. That doesn't mean that it's something else. Debunkers are literally retarded. Like, they don't even understand basic logic and reasoning. So now that we've seen this, and it doesn't mean that if you see something out there, it's necessarily ball lightning, but I'm just pointing out ball lightning looks just like this. It's the same bullshit argument that people say where, oh, you're looking at VFX because there's like almost a partial match on one edge of one side of one frame of the video. And you're going, yeah, you can do that to literally anything. That's not logical argument. And people get so offended when you point that out because they're idiots. Look at that. I mean, come on. This is incredible. So some people have asked, how expensive are those femtosecond lasers? They are between $20,000 and $200,000 for one of these lasers. $20,000 to $200,000. That's how expensive these are right now. Keep in mind, this is why when I say, how do you produce this? I say, it's not even worth it to try to do it. There's videos out there. The defense contractors have labs that probably have hundreds of millions of dollars worth of equipment in them. Hundreds of millions. We're never going to be able to compete with them. The best we can do is stuff like this where we can find this video. Now, if anybody else can find me a video like this that's not 15 years old, that's in 1080p, this one's like very low quality video, that would be awesome. I'm sure there's more videos out there like this. especially if they can produce this. Now, how do they do this? How are they producing this? Well, let's take a look down in the comment section after this finishes. What's happening here is the lasers are stripping the electrons off of the molecules in the air, literally in the air. It's stripping the molecules. Let me go full screen. Stripping the molecules off stripping the electrons off the molecules. Electrons are negatively charged particles, so it takes a negatively charged particle off of a molecule that leaves behind a positively charged ion. This produces the plasma. Plasma is not a hologram, although to some degree you could say it's producing a projection, but people have this misconception out there that these plasmas are like ghosts or something, or like they're not really there. No, what we're producing is really there. The same way where when I produce fire or don't produce fire, oh, there it is. That fire is really there. Okay, well, maybe not. That fire is really there, and that fire will burn you. The same concept of these plasmas. Now, you could theoretically produce these plasmas as decoys. They could be countermeasures. But that doesn't mean that's all they're used for. And this is going to become important because we're going to watch another clip here in a second. So let's go back to this. And here's the description. Why do I have a lighter so close? Because I use it for examples. I've been using it for examples on plasma. It is a 100 gigawatt, 35 femtosecond, 1 kilohertz, that's the frequency, laser, is focused down a narrow waist, which creates an electric field large enough to ionize the air. You can see the resulting plasma glowing, the little white floating blob. The process is essentially the same as lightning, which, of course, is accompanied by thunder. The 1 kilohertz buzz you hear is the thunder. That's the thunder. The buzz you hear is the analogy to the thunder. It's repeated 1,000 times per second, aka kilohertz. The colored pattern on the wall is the expanded beam. The moving colors generated by the nonlinear effects in the plasma. We're literally looking at, in this video, real ball lightning. This is real artificial ball lightning that has been produced in this video. This is a cold, non-equilibrium plasma that we're looking at right here. Absolutely incredible. Let's get to the part where you can kind of see it. Like right here, this is the best shot, right? Look at that thing. Now imagine that you scale that up. Remember, what did I tell you? Who won the Nobel Prize in 2023? Or what was the Nobel Prize for in 2023? The Nobel Prize was for attosecond lasers. Attosecond lasers are even more powerful than femtosecond lasers. And the difference is the shorter the burst, the higher the energy. So the faster we're getting these pulses of these lasers, the more energy that's being produced. Yeah, that's the money shot right there. Look at that. That's just incredible. It's just floating freely. It's just floating freely. And let's read the comments now, because there's some pretty interesting comments. I'm not going to read all 75 of these comments. It's funny. Somebody pointed out as well right here. They say this is where it all started with the orb nonsense and the drones. This is why people are showing edited media of what's on the wall. Oh wait, no, that's not the right one. I mean, honestly, it doesn't. The projection on the wall is just to show you like what it would look like if it's bigger, so you can analyze it much better. Let's see. What do they say here? Somebody points out permittivity. I don't remember which comment it is. Where is it? There's the buzz. Let's see. Even more powerful pulse lasers exist. Yep. Here we go, right here. I've always wondered how nonlinear effects are caused. I believe it's somehow related to the change in the refractive index of anisotropic material. Am I correct? Please let me know. Yes, you are correct. What's happening is we're changing the refractive index of the medium. We're changing the permittivity, electric permittivity of the medium. What's up with the drink? Oh, guys, if you're not familiar, cheers. It's martini night. I haven't had a martini in a while. So we got blue cheese martinis. Blue cheese olives in our martini. Delicious, chat. It's a Friday. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. So, yes, we're changing the permittivity of the vacuum. And that's actually huge. I don't know if there's any more comments about this, but there you go. Okay, so now let me show you something else. Let me show you something else. Okay, where's my video? What is this? This one? Wait, let me see. There might be two. Okay. I think this is it.
Way to see what the bias effect is all about is to say it's really the generation of extremely high energy densities that are obtained by the accelerated vibration and or accelerated spin of
here it is,
a non-equilibrium plasma. That means the plasma that's out of equilibrium. You can think of that. They have a term for it called cold plasma. Cold, as in non-thermal plasma, and it really has to do with the electrons of this plasma that talks to the plasma density very high. The number of these electrons do not observe something called a Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. That's what a cold plasma is all about, an out of equilibrium or non-equilibrium plasma.
That's why. I love Sal Pais. Sal, imagine how much Sal is risking, guys. Imagine how much Sal Pais is risking saying that. We just saw the video of the ball plasma. Doesn't it all just make sense now? Why Sal wanted to talk to me? Because he was watching the MH370 videos and he knew exactly what we were looking at. He knew exactly what we were looking at the very first time. The moment he saw this, he knew exactly what this was. He knew those balls were balls of non-equilibrium plasma. He could tell from the heat signature. The heat signature gives it away because the yellow parts of those balls of plasma are the electrons. They're the hot electrons. And the blue parts of the ball of plasma is the cold, positively charged ions. And they're stuck in a stabilized configuration. No wonder Sal didn't push it further because he was already pushing it way too far. I mean, I would literally argue that he said way too much. No wonder he got gagged after our first interview with him. He got gagged after the first interview because he had said way too much information. That was from the first interview. Watch this second one. Yeah, how are the orbs so much larger? This is a great question. How are the orbs so much larger? Well, Bob Greenier can answer that. It's scale invariant. What does scale invariance mean? It means doesn't matter if it's tiny, it doesn't matter if it's big. It's the same effect. It's just a matter of how you create your input. Those balls in the MH370 videos are 20 feet wide. The video that we just watched is like the size of my pinky. This is the difference between a garage experiment using a $20,000 to $200,000 laser and those balls of plasma in the MH370 videos, which are probably worth over $100 million a pop. $100 million a pop, if I had to guess. Maybe even more. I mean, I'm just throwing a random number out there. They could be getting projected at a distance. I'll hit these donations up in a second, guys, as well. They could be getting produced at a distance by like satellites producing those balls of plasma, or there could be a device inside of them, a small laser device inside of them that's producing the plasma right there in that location. In that location. Now, let me show this other thing. Let me take some notes for some of these questions. You guys have a lot of good questions. Someone wants to know how to teleport. I'll explain that. I'm going to throw this other clip up there while I'm looking through some of the questions that were in the chat. So here's another clip. This clip of Sal is from his Tim Ventura interview. Wait, here it is.
Interpreting it correctly, then you're talking about high energy plasmas with basically waveforms applied to them, and that would be enough.
Non-equilibrium plasmas. That's a key factor.
Okay.
Non-equilibrium. So we're talking about, you can call them cold plasmas. Plasmas that do not obey the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution of the electrons within them.
Okay.
That gives you an idea. How could these plasmas be created? Hint, hint, attosecond, femtosecond lasers, among other things. There are other easier way to create these.
We got to listen to it again. Whoa.
If I'm interpreting it correctly, then you're talking about high energy plasmas with basically waveforms applied to them. And that would be enough.
Non-equilibrium plasmas. That's a key factor.
Okay.
Non-equilibrium. So we're talking about, you can call them cold plasmas. Plasmas that do not obey the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution of the electrons within them.
Okay.
That gives you an idea. How could these plasmas be created? Hint, hint, attosecond, femtosecond lasers, among other things. There are other easier way to create these.
Yeah, chat. Yeah, let's just absorb what we just heard Sal say. When I re-listened to the Tim Ventura podcast, that was from over a year ago. Yeah, I was just like, what? Now, keep in mind, we just watched a video of femtosecond lasers producing the plasma. So let's run through the questions you guys just asked me in the chat. What are the easier ways to produce them? That's incredible. There's an easier way to produce those balls of plasma? Easier than a laser? I don't know the answer to that. To be honest with you guys, I'll tell you the full truth. I've asked Sal, and he won't tell me over online. So whatever it is, it's probably pretty secret. He won't he won't even risk telling me online. That's how, whatever that easier way is, most likely the Navy and the U.S. government has figured out another way to produce them without attosecond, femtosecond lasers. Spicy. Now let's go to I'm going to go to the super chats first, then I'm going to answer some of the questions I heard, and then I'll take a look at some other ones. Did you see the recent video thank you guys for the donations, by the way. Did you see the recent video of Plasma Channel on using cold plasmas to increase the growth rate of plants? I heard something about that. That's a little too esoteric for my liking, but sure. Seems within the realm of possibility. Thank you, Malik, for the donation. Appreciate you. Filming plasma on my channel. That's awesome. Check out Orbithon, guys. Orbithon, if you guys see any good videos on there, send me. I'm extremely interested in plasma. Spider Sense is going nuts. Plasma is the secret. That's what this is all about. Plasma is what all this UFO stuff is in terms of what has been going on. Even going back to flying saucers, I wouldn't be surprised to find that the flying saucers were producing plasma around them as well. It all seems to be about ionizing the gas, the atmosphere, and producing this plasma. But that's another big thing about that video. There is no hydrogen being inserted into that plasma that's making that ball lightning. That ball lightning we saw from that video is being produced directly from the atmosphere, just from the air in this video. This ball lightning is being produced just from the air that's existing right there. This is huge. I've been wondering, the MH370 plasmas, can they just create the plasma by stripping the ions directly out of the atmosphere, out of the air? The answer is yes. They don't need to have something pumping hydrogen into it to keep it going. That's huge. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Ever heard of Eric Dollard? His name sounds familiar. He created a standing ball of plasma utilizing longitudinal waves. Yeah, that's where my speculation is right now, is that I think that what they're doing is they're using standing waves to make the plasma without the laser. I just don't understand how, but somehow that's what they're doing. And when you talk about longitudinal waves, that would be like electromagnetic wave through the ether. So potentially they're using some other sort of electromagnetic input. Other thing I want to point out is these balls of plasmas could be any color. They could be any color. They can be tuned. So the only reason why we see it as orange there is because it's a certain wavelength that's being used for the laser. Are longitudinal waves scalar? Probably. probably, I don't know if they're only scalar, but maybe yes. But yeah, standing wave, everybody's kind of figured out that standing waves and resonance is the key to these balls of plasma. Absolutely crucial. I think it comes down to finding the right frequency where you achieve your standing wave within your plasma. And then somebody said, how are they, what do you need to do to stabilize them? That was a question that somebody asked. In terms of stabilizing them, there are 2 different models that we've read about. And I talked to Tom Montauk about that. So if you want to do a deep dive, go to my channel on my live stream. Go to the Tom Montauk interview from a couple of weeks ago. I'll post some clips. I've got like 20 clips ready to go. I'll post them this weekend. Tom Montauk says there's 2 ways. One is the Jack Nachamkin way, which is using a vortex of electrons, which may be what we're seeing in the MH370 videos. That vortex can stabilize your ball of plasma so that it creates a non-radiating barrier, a bubble around it, where the electrons, they can't neutralize and they can't escape out into the atmosphere. The other way is through oscillation, like expansion and contraction. Expansion and contraction of the orb can also theoretically stabilize it. So there may be other ways as well, but those are the only 2 ways that I'm familiar with right now. I don't think you need a nuclear reactor or anything like that, although it might have nuclear fusion happening inside these orbs of plasma. How are they self-sustaining? They're self-sustaining because they can pull energy directly from the vacuum. Also, they don't radiate energy out. So you create that bubble, the energy cannot radiate out, or at least only a very small amount can radiate out. Kind of like Hawking radiation, perhaps. So you might have a small amount radiating out, but it's gaining energy in that case from the vacuum, from the ether, from the 0-point field. That's why Ken Shoulders called these balls of plasma exotic vacuum objects. He called them exotic vacuum objects because he believed they were extracting energy from the vacuum. So the guy that invented them or discovered them is a better way to look at it. He's probably a good authority in terms of how they're cohering energy. But again, they're not the non-radiating barrier. The point is the energy is not able to radiate outward because the pointing vector is 0, especially along the edges. If the magnetic field and the electric field are parallel, then your pointing vector is 0, and you're not going to have energy be able to radiate outward. That's what the Jack and Champion paper basically says. How are they controlling them? How are you controlling where they move? Well, when you watch the MH370 video again, you can see that they have these dark lines in front of them. Those dark lines are how you cause it to move around. That's basically a conveyor belt. You're pretty much looking at these things are on a conveyor belt. And the conveyor belt's what's moving them. It's not that they're moving. The conveyor belt is moving. This is the secret to... This is warp drive. This is warp drive. This is what warp drive is. They're surfing. These orbs are surfing on gravity waves. So what is one of Salvatore Pais' patents? High-frequency gravitational wave generator. That's what you're looking at right here. They're producing high-frequency gravitational waves in front of them, and they're surfing on them just like a surfer would be surfing on the water. It's not that the surfer is physically moving the surfboard. It's that the waves themselves are moving, and they're just tracking along with them. So again, these waves, these could be, I think they're being produced from inside the orb outward, but they could also be getting produced from like beams that are shooting down from outer space, from satellites, or from ground-based systems, or boats. There's a lot of possibilities. How do you teleport? Okay, how do you teleport? 2 things that you need to understand to be able to teleport. First, the convergence. The convergence is crucial. These balls of plasma are extremely densely charged, condensed charged plasmas, meaning they have a huge amount of electric charge. This thing is like a giant magnet that's like a billion times more powerful than a magnet. I don't know if that's the right number of zeros, but a lot. It's either maybe a million or a billion times more powerful than a conventional magnet. And then what are you doing when you're jamming them together? You have a Coulomb repulsion effect occur. Just like if you were to jam 2 magnets together, same exact idea. What is force? Force is the ability to do work, or energy is the ability to do work. And so in this case, if you have something where something's being jammed apart, that's energy, that's force that we're producing. Magnets were always the key, and it's kind of scary that people didn't realize it a long time ago. I mean, some people probably did. So the other thing you need to know is entanglement, quantum entanglement. How do you determine where the plane shows up? you would entangle these orbs of energy to another orb. You might need more than one, but we just speculate one orb. And that's why my name is 4 orbs. So you take your 3 orbs on one side, your 4th orb over here, boom. And according to wormhole scientific papers, you do an operation on one side and you do a measurement on the other side, and you're essentially rebuilding the wave function in the double slit experiment. Your object can now be anywhere, non-locality, and now you teleport your location from one to the other. The universe is holographic. The universe is holographic, everybody. What we perceive out there is an illusion, in my opinion. What we see around us all the time. All matter is trapped energy in a resonance. Think about it like that. All matter is trapped energy in a resonance. Somebody asked me as well, not in the chat here, or maybe they did, which is, how do these balls of plasma go through solid matter? Ken Shoulders saw that these, in fact, I'm going to probably play the clip. I don't know if this is in the clip, but these balls of plasma can go through solid matter, and the way they go through solid matter, let's see, here it is that they can, basically the fermions act like bosons in that situation. So you say, okay, what's a fermion and what's a boson? A fermion makes it so that, going back to my lighter right here, my hand doesn't go through the lighter, right? That's because the lighter's made out of fermions and my hand is made out of fermions. They are not allowed. The Pauli exclusion principle says that you can't have two things in the same location in space and time at the same time, right? So because you can't have two fermions in the same location at the same time, I can't go through this. Bosons can, like a laser, for example, is a boson, bosonic, meaning that all the photons are collapsing down onto a single point. This is how the plasma goes through solid matter, because the fermions now act like bosons. So now all the particles, all the molecules, whatever, they can occupy the same location in space and time. That's another clue that the universe is holographic, because otherwise, how the hell is that possible? How is that possible? So yes, you can phase through solid matter with these ball lightning. Now, if you have something on the inside of it, like an actual object, it might not be able to go through. The plasma can go through for sure, but can the object on the inside go through? Not sure. So more to learn, of course, more to learn. Let's hit up a couple more donations, and then I'll do some, or actually, let's show this video, and then we'll do the donations.
Positive things that can be used for.
You name something you want that's good, and it.
By the way, that's Ken Shoulders on the right. The guy talking right now is Ken Shoulders. He's the guy that discovered exotic vacuum objects. He's the guy.
Probably be the thing that does it for you. If you say anti-gravity, propulsion properties are just incredible. It will be able to push anything you want, anywhere you want. It enshrouds stuff. This is all written on some of these things on the web. When it enshrouds things, it can allow them to disappear. It does make atoms disappear in laboratory work. Well, that's interesting, you know, because when they disappear, I can transport all this stuff through somewhere else, and it reappears. That's teleportation. So it does that very nicely. It's an energy source, just incredible. We can forget all of our energy problems. We can forget all of our propulsion problems.
It makes things disappear. That's teleportation. Direct quote from Ken Shoulders, the man himself, right there. Can solve all of our energy problems. Condensed charge physics was given the highest priorities by the Pentagon in the early 90s when Puthoff and Shoulders were researching it. Third highest priority after stealth bombers and optical computing, and then it got moved up the next year to second highest priority. Remember, we were listening to the clip of Puthoff, where Puthoff was just saying, did I even save that one? Yeah, here it is.
I mean, one of the things that has been a puzzle is, well, the electron is said to be a point particle. Well, why doesn't its Coulomb field then cause it to have an enormous mass associated with that energy? Well, it turns out if you take into account the vacuum fluctuation energy, which is a negative potential in that situation, they balance out. So just solving little pieces as I went along.
Hal put us randomly like, hey, okay, your answer is 0 point.
Shows that energy can be extracted from the 0 point energy fields.
Wait for it. Okay. From the nations in the chat, I'll run through.
That's great. You get you a little puff of energy, but if you're pulling it apart to do it again, you've got to put in as much energy as you got out. So you got to find some other way. So we looked at some plasma potential aspects. Those are not.
Yahtzee! Yes! Yes! We win, chat. We win. We've got these people dead to fucking rights. We've got them dead to rights. We've figured out all of it. We have nailed them. We have figured out the people that discovered it. We have figured out the properties of plasma. We have all of them on the record and videos of them. I mean, look at what I'm doing right now, just playing clips. Just playing clips. That's all I got to do. We've got Navy engineers. We've got dudes that were the father of microelectronics and drones, Ken Shoulders. We've got Hal Puthoff literally saying that, and by the way, right after that clip, he says that it's multiple labs are researching being able to use plasma to extract energy, and it's on critical level, critical priority. So this is not a joke. Like, we are quite literally exposing the United States government's super weapons. What you're hearing right now in this live stream is probably would be considered like top secret compartmentalized access information that you would hear in a skiff. The shit these people are hearing in skiffs isn't even probably as secret as the stuff that I'm telling you guys right now from these clips. Let me hit these donations real quick. And then somebody had a question about the sinusoidal pattern. Okay. Orbiton again. I have a video that shows craft going between craft and plasma. Have a video that shows craft going between craft and plasma. I don't know what that means, but thank you. For the record, again, guys, I don't do random videos of cell phones and what have you. I just don't do it. Not interested. I do hope that the information that we're doing here helps you guys discover your own stuff. So, you know, if you saw something that was incredible or what have you, and you're looking for answers, I hope this gives you the answers. I'm not the guy that's going to be researching a bunch of people's random videos and what have you. I'm just not interested in it. I'm more interested in digging through the science and giving you all the information so that you can arm yourselves and you can come to your own conclusions. I don't want to tell people what to think. I want people to think for themselves. But thank you very much for that donation. That's awesome. Orbiton apparently has some videos on his YouTube if you guys want to check them out. Boba or Booba. ChatGPT-01 generates me plans to 3D print a metamaterial which it claims will cloak electric and magnetic fields via a toroidal wrapped in coils with a honeycomb lattice around it. Yeah, I think I saw something about some video where people were using a honeycomb lattice. Like for some reason, this honeycomb shape in metamaterials has some pretty amazing properties to it. I don't know much about it, but it does seem like it would be a very interesting avenue of research. So if people can find cool videos related to that, let me know. Also, cloaking versus teleportation. Like, I actually think there's a direct connection. Is that if you actually cloak all the electromagnetic fields, if you're somehow able to do that, that's very similar to manipulating the 0 point energy. Very similar. So I do think there's probably going to be a connection there. I wouldn't be surprised to find out in the future if the Philadelphia experiment was real and actually happened in 1943, and that was the first time we realized that if we try to cloak something with very powerful electromagnetic fields, it can actually just rip a hole in space-time. Just rip a hole in space-time by manipulating the 0 point energy, squeezing out the 0 point energy. Capo Beach. Wow, thank you for that huge donation. This is for that 4-hour banger episode. Yeah, we're not going to go that long tonight because, damn, I'm exhausted. It has been a hell of a week, chat. Between work and these live streams, it's been a hell of a week, but you know what? It's been absolutely worth it. If you didn't check out the 4-hour live stream, I at least recommend checking out the 3-hour podcast sponsored by NASA with Department of Energy, people inside of it, with the lady who's like either the head or high up on the National Science Foundation. They were basically talking about the ether the whole time, 0-point energy, EM drive, all the things that I've been telling you guys are real, that everybody thinks you're crazy if you believe that's real. Guys, we are going to bring down every single institution out there. The MH370 videos, I don't even blame people for trying to hide it because no one's going to ever trust the government again. No one's going to ever trust academia again. We are literally going to force a crisis upon humanity, a crisis of conscience where people literally can no longer tell what's real or not or what to believe or not anymore because they're going to have to accept that they've been getting lied to by every single institution that they trust. Every institution that they trust has been lying to them. And not just lying to them, but literally manipulating them like cattle. Like cattle. Absolutely ridiculous. And yes, please hit the like button. I appreciate it. You guys have been awesome. This has been amazing. Next month, I'm looking to expanding my content, producing more scientific-based content. I'm going to do my best. We'll see how much time I have for it. Okay, one more donation. Complisier, thank you very much. Yazinga, go Ashton. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. I appreciate you guys who've been here for a long time. For a lot of us, we woke up during COVID. I woke up during COVID. But there are a lot of people out there, a vast majority of people still, who have not woken up to this. And there's a number of people as well who do not trust the government and the media, but they also don't realize that academia is just as bad, if not worse. Academia is a completely fraudulent institution. Top to bottom. Top to bottom, full of gatekeepers, full of idiots who don't understand physics, egotistical morons who have very low self-esteem that will probably never admit they were wrong, never admit that they've been lied to, and we're gonna tear them all down. Literally tear them down, burn them down to their foundations, and rebuild these institutions from scratch. That's what's gonna happen. Now, somebody asked about the sinusoidal pattern of the orbs around the plane. That's actually something I'm not entirely sure about, but you know what? I'm going to let Sal Pais explain the sinusoidal pattern. So first, I'll go ahead and show you the sinusoidal pattern. Here it is. So you can see these orbs are moving in a sinusoidal pattern, which is a wave pattern around the plane. It does seem deliberate, like they're mapping it. This is where Sal Pais said that they are bathing the plane or bathing the zone around the plane in non-ionized radiation. Non-ionized radiation. I don't know exactly what that means, but we'll learn. We'll learn. At this point, guys, we should stop doubting MH370X. I don't think that none of the intelligence community ever thought that we would get this far. Why? Because nobody's ever gotten this far before. We're basically in the movie The Matrix where we're talking to the architect and the architect is like, damn, nobody ever got this far before. Like, shit, how'd you guys get this far? That's essentially what is going on right now with this movement and us. So whatever there is to find out, we're going to find it out. There is nothing that can be kept secret from us anymore. Nothing. Let me show the other clip. Here it is. What were your impressions when you saw specifically this video here for the first time?
Oh, man, when I saw those orbs, I saw this thing, this one orb just start exactly what it's doing now. Just start to go around this thing. And all of a sudden, it started join another one and then another one. And I said, oh, my God. They're forming a bubble of non-ionizing radiation around this thing. There's no way. There's no way what's about to happen. I anticipated. Do you understand? I knew before that black hole happened. Let's call it a black hole.
You knew that was going to happen beforehand?
I knew that would happen. I knew that would happen. That's why
really?
When I said, this is it. This is the Pais effect. I of course, it's, hubris. That's the only thing I got going for me, brother. That's not one thing I'm losing anytime soon. So
have you ever seen videos like this? Military videos like this before? Anything even similar or remotely similar to this?
Never ever.
That pause right there that he does right there, sketchiest pause of the whole interview. Like, it should just be a yes or no answer, but he sits there for a second and he goes, no, never ever.
And even if I have, because
You wouldn't be able to
remember,
talk
at
about it?
one point I would not be able to discuss because that would give away methods.
Why do you think they were
first,
converging like that at the end?
They're actually focusing as much non-ionizing radiation around this craft in order to condition the local vacuum around the craft, the aircraft, in order to form this wormhole opening for one of the back. What's a wormhole? It's really a black hole connected to white hole. Whatever has an entrance will most likely have an exit. I do not believe in space-time singularities. I'm afraid Penrose was 100% wrong from this point of view. It never goes to zero. There's a quantum bounce. Ashtekar is correct. There's an Ashtekar bounce at the Planck scale. Again, the whole idea of why I thought that they were getting close and started to oscillate around this thing is to basically create that resonance effect that would build the field to the levels it would need to break locally the Schwinger limit.
Some reason I didn't connect that till just now. I've watched that like 10 times and I didn't connect it till right now. It's amplifying the energy. It's creating the oscillation effect the same way that we see with the parametric oscillations. At least I think that's what he's saying. Oh my God, chat. If this is
our
true.
variable inductor into the circuit,
They're doing this, what you see right here. This.
the process of exponential growth begins. And after a short amount of time, the current begins to take off. And since the current must be constant through all the elements, we see that the voltage across the resistor takes off as well. This means that real power is being generated in the system and is able to do real work, creating heat through the resistor.
Wow. Guys,
starting with the resistor,
people are going to have literal mental breakdowns. People are going to have a complete psychological break, and I'm going to love every single minute of it. All these assholes who are talking shit, who are saying that you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. I can't wait to watch their heads explode and for them to have like a literal existential crisis. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to egg them on. Why? Because I'm not the hero. I've always been the anti-hero. I've always been the villain. And these people need to be shocked into waking up, because the truth is, the people that have been shitting on us and what have you, they're literally NPCs. They're literally non-player characters. They literally don't have an inner monologue. They are not conscious beings in the sense that most of us are that are awake. And the only way to wake them up, to jolt them awake, is for them to just literally have ontological shock and wonder what is even real anymore. That's the only way to do it. That's the only way to do it. That's how it's going to play out too. Okay, next thing. I thought I saw a comment I need to address, but there's so much stuff going on right now. Absolutely wild, guys. Yes, as somebody just pointed this out, it's like how trampoline jumpers use that extra bounce from another person. It's called a double bounce. That's exactly what it is. Did you steal that from when I said this the last time when we were watching that? If not, yes, you got it. And it goes to show that's exactly what's happening. Is that when you use that parametric oscillations, yes, it's like on a trampoline, and now you have somebody double bounce you. And now you're creating this exponent. It's similar to that, but instead you're actually creating an exponential growth. Creating exponential growth with an electrical current. And yeah, it's probably has to do with resonance, aka hitting the right frequency. Again, frequency is just a wave. So you hit the right resonance, you tune your radio, all of a sudden you hit the right station. Now you got music coming out, right? Now you got music. Okay, the next thing I want to take a look at here, change gears for a second. I want to look at the cold fusion as well. Guys, do you realize they've been hiding this shit for a long time? I've never taken psychedelics in my entire life. Never once. Never once, chat. I don't do drugs, chat. You guys know I'm clean. I'm straight-laced. Injecting Marijuhuchas, we don't do it. We do not do it. And not just for my security clearance. You know, you got to keep got to stay straight focused. Now, if Joe Rogan had me on, I would accept, although I'm definitely going to rip Joe Rogan, guys. Like, if I go down Joe Rogan, I am going to rip into him. I'm going to rip into him. I'm going to rip into the UFO community and all his little buddies like Gary Nolan and Lou Elizondo and Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. I'm going to tear those guys down 100%. So if Joe Rogan's listening and you don't want me to do that, don't have me on. I don't really care that much, but I absolutely am. There's no doubt that's how it's going to play out. Those guys don't get to ignore this whole case and make up a bunch of bullshit about how they think the videos are fake and then not get completely destroyed by me. I'm going to ruin their careers. I'm going to make sure that nobody ever listens to those guys ever again for the rest of their lives. Oh, for the record, Lou Elizondo's made about $75,000 from his book so far. I went and looked into that. $3 per book, 25,000 copies. It's actually pretty sad how little money he's made from his book. They were trying to play it up like he was a New York Times bestseller. He's not even close. Not even close, dude. He was on the bestseller list for a couple weeks. So there you go. Now you know how much money Lou Elizondo's made. Yeah, good for him. You know, he wrote a stupid book that didn't really do anything, and he made $75,000 for him. Good luck. I think it's hilarious that people try to call me a grifter when you've got people putting stuff like that out. Okay, so let's go into the cold fusion. So I went ahead and I edited down this right here. I think this is it.
Had was a threat to the.
Okay, yeah, this is it. This right here is Eugene Mallove. Eugene Mallove, he wrote a book about the suppression of cold fusion. He wrote a book about it. He was working at MIT. He's got a bachelor's and a master's from MIT in aerospace engineering. And he was the editor of the Free Energy magazine at MIT when cold fusion broke in 1989. Let's listen to what he has to say.
What we really had was a threat to the scientific establishment. The threat of it even being implied as real and having monies, shall we say, being diverted from their favored programs, and that was a threat. It was real. Overwhelmingly compelling, as I said, in Fire from Ice. It was real. Now it's 100% certain. In fact, what Pons and Fleischman found was only the tip of an iceberg. But within weeks, the hot fusion people were going into action behind closed doors to disprove them. The difference between July 10th and 13th was dramatic. The raw data, excess heat. But then on the 13th, it was shifted completely. It was altered. They did some standard averaging, which was appropriate, that is in time blocks, but the level of the signal had been utterly changed. It looked like monkey business to me at the time, and it has turned out to be exactly that. Scientific paper done under Department of Energy contract that had altered data, and that data is scientific fraud as far as...
Holy shit. I didn't realize that he was just going scorched earth. Did you hear what he just said? He just said that they literally changed the data between one paper and the next. And he's going to keep going here and essentially say that they fraudulently took positive results and they made it look like negative results. And it was DOE sponsored paper. The DOE worked with MIT and other institutions to literally cover up cold fusion. Quite literally what I'm saying, I'm not exaggerating, no hyperbole. They quite literally posted falsified results. They pulled a debunker move. They basically pulled a debunker move and they were like, no, that's not real. Ignore that. That's not possible. 60 recreations of cold fusion. The DOE created a tribunal, and only the people that got positive results, they went to their labs, they checked their labs out, and they debunked them all. They said, your thermometer wasn't working right. In one case, they literally said, on the weekend, the building gets slightly more voltage, and this somehow explains the excess heat. Like, literally, that was one of their explanations. They're just making up random shit. The DOE literally did the exact same thing that the debunkers do. They just made up nonsense. You see these debunkers on the MH370 videos literally make up fake expertise. They'll go, that's not how a drone video should look. That's not how satellite stuff works. They don't know any of this shit. They're literally just making it up. They just make it up. They cherry pick like one random thing that they'll find on the internet and take it out of context, and then they pretend like it's their own expertise. This is the same shit that the DOE did with cold fusion. The same exact thing.
As I'm concerned, it was represented as a negative result when it was positive. The representation of the altered data as a negative was clear fraud. We know for a fact today that the cold fusion, low energy nuclear reactions are real. In a few instances, I can say there are clearly over unity electromagnetic devices, things that produce more electrical energy out than in. Electromagnetic theory will require radical revision. The only way of approving any patent that resembles cold fusion is to eliminate the words cold fusion or anything like it. They no longer look at the data. Of course, they never really looked at the data. They had a bad frame of reference to begin with. They said it must work like hot fusion. Well, this was in a solid state. It's just like saying the equivalent of demanding that cold fusion works like hot fusion is like saying a transistor works like a radio tube. There must be this product or this radiation, or we're not going to believe it. The Wright brothers airplane flew, and there was very much controversy about that from 1903 to 1908. One prominent critic who said it would never fly, never be real, could never be done. This one is particularly intense because of the threat to academic wisdom. There's nothing worse, I've found, than suggesting to academic physicists in particular, and academics in general, that they are not only wrong, but disastrously wrong, catastrophically wrong, and that once they are proved and shown in public to be the fools that they are and the bad actors that they are, there's possibly going to be some punishment for them.
Oh, sorry. Where do you think Eugene Mallove is right now, chat? Where do you think he is? What do you think happens to people that say that free energy is real and that over unity devices are real, like Eugene Mallove just did? What do you guys think happened to him? Let's look it up. Let's look it up, chat. Yeah, I think you guys have figured it out. 6 feet under, dead. He died, chat. And of course, he died from mysterious circumstances as well. Let's look up his death. He died at 56 years old in 2004. He died like 2 years after that what we just watched was recorded. Did he look like he was pretty old in that video? No, he did not. Here's the thing. Eugene Mallove, scientist, murdered, stomped to death after housing dispute. Literally, I couldn't even make this up, chat. I couldn't even make this up. I actually didn't even know the answer before I looked it up right now. I could not have made this up if I tried. Dude, bro, don't yell at me about reading the chat. Do you realize I'm getting 100 messages a minute right now? I can't read all the chat. So if you want my attention, the best way is to do a super chat. There's not much I can do right now. I'm trying to keep up. Stomped to death? What? His killers were able to evade justice for more than 4 years? They found a victim, a man lying in a pool of his own blood. It was clear he'd been viciously beaten. There were even shoe patterns on his clothing, indicated somebody may have stomped on him. Well, I'm fucked, chat. Let's just be honest. I'm not going to live to die of old age. It is what it is. I took that risk before we got into this. The guy that you just saw, this is the true story. It was a horrific scene. Retired detective. The victim's shoes and wallet were missing. There was blood on multiple parts of the property, suggesting the struggle actually began in the backyard. This is horrific. Yeah, I'm getting a gun, chat. I'm not fucking around anymore. I watched the Nick, just full screen, guys. I watched the Nick Fuentes thing. I'm getting a fucking gun. I'm not messing around with this shit anymore. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I was always somebody that felt like I never needed a firearm, but there are insane people out there, and the world's only getting more insane. And I am pushing people into a corner. And some of these people that don't believe this stuff is real, some of these debunkers are literally mentally insane, and they might try to harm me. They're going to blame me for their lives being a lie. Quite literally, they're going to blame me for their lives being a lie, and all I've done is expose that they've been getting lied to and they've been absorbing it. So if you're one of those people out there, do not come to my house. Do not come knocking on my door. If you know where I live and you come knocking on my door, I guarantee you it's not going to end well for you. Do not. This is your only warning. Okay. Going back to that. Holy crap. Guys, we might have to solve this crime, honestly. Did they ever catch these people? Did they ever catch these people? Where's the story? This is insane, dude. Let's see here. Eugene Mallove's van was in the employee parking lot of a casino. Wait, his car wasn't even at his house? Yeah, it was a Puerto Rican guy. It was some Puerto Rican did it, chat. You know that's probably where this is going, right? How much you want to bet we're going to find out it's like they're going to be like, it was some Puerto Rican random act of violence. His car was randomly at a casino where he got stomped to death at home. That's what this says right here. His car was at a casino and he gets stomped to death at home. I mean, this guy was definitely targeted, right? This is scary, dude. Where are the killers? Who are the killers? Multiple suspects. They were all eventually cleared. Authorities were at a standstill. The case went cold until 4 years later when a new task force was created and they were able to get a $50,000 reward. A woman claiming to be friends with Chad Schaefer told police that she confided in Schaefer to come home with bloody clothes around the time of his killing. Who's this guy? Yep, look, some black dude. They're like, oh, it was just like some black dude. Whoever said that, you were right. So some guy confessed? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm not going to go through all this, but this is sus, chat. I'm trying not to fall down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole here, but this is getting pretty suspicious. Okay, we got a couple more things that we got to get through, and we don't have too much time. So, oh, wow. Holy crap. Eric Spencer, paying for attention to tell everyone to love each other. Yeah, we'll need it when we are walking around with concealed black hole permits. That's what we're going to look at next. Where's the papers? Close this. Close this. I think this is it right here. Yeah, this is the one. Okay. So thank you very much, Eric. That's super generous of you. Also, it looks like somebody sent me a Cash App while I was sitting here. Oh, Chris, thank you very much for the $5 donation. Appreciate you, Chris, whoever you are out there. I'm not going to say your last name. And James, actually, I recognize this James. James in the chat, thank you very much for the $25 donation. You guys have been extremely generous around Christmas time. I appreciate that. I do plan to give back to some of my admins and some of the people that have been providing content for me in the Discord, clips and stuff like that. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but be on the lookout for that if you are one of those people. Thank you guys very much. Huge donation. And once again, thank you. Huge donation, guys. I appreciate it. I like to think that we're producing some of the best content that's out there because it's real and it's science. And we're making science fun again. So to make science fun again, oh, that was not what I wanted to do. Let's look at this. So I promised you guys doomsday weapons, and I'm going to try to do this without getting deleted from the internet. Where is it? Here we go. So I'm not sure what the federal laws are on explaining how to produce thermonuclear weapons for people. So I'm pretty sure what I'm going to say here won't violate them, whatever they are. I'm going to look them up over the weekend and try to figure out like what those laws are. And if anybody has any good videos on how nuclear weapons work, send them to me and put them in the Discord, because I'm very confident between the MH370 zap where the orbs are converging, we're going to be able to figure out how we can take the concept of a thermonuclear weapon and turn it into a black hole super weapon that can literally just pull energy from the environment. Literally just pull energy from the environment. Okay. Let's see here. If I zoom in. So this is plasma compression fusion device, enabling nuclear fusion ignition. Salvatore Cesar Pais. Salvatore Cesar Pais. So you guys recognize my boy here. This is in the IEEE science, which IEEE is one of the most prominent papers that's out there. I'm happy for Sal that he got some of his stuff published, because he had to go through hell to get any of his work published, even though he's an active Navy engineer, which is wild to me. Jackie O, it's so obvious that he was assassinated. He was a close friend of Greer. Greer says he was assassinated as well. It's actually, what we just read is extremely suspicious. They didn't find any suspects for 4 years, and then all of a sudden someone just confesses. He got stomped out. Eugene Mallove got stomped out and murdered at home while his car was at a casino. What? How does that make any sense? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, so if we scroll down here, and here is the plasma compression fusion core. So really all that's happening here is they're creating a magnetic field that's compressing the plasma in the center of it. It's really simple, actually. It's really simple. And here's another a picture of it over here in the top left. Ooh, toroidal magnetic coil, positive voltage charge grid, negative voltage charge grid, switchable voltage capability, gas ionization charge grid. Honestly, this paper right here that we're looking at might be able to tell us how to produce a thermonuclear device. There's probably enough in here. I'm going to probably reread this now that I know way more than I knew a year ago and try to figure this out. Guys, look at it this way. If anything happens to me, do you know how big this case is going to get? This case is not going to be able to be suppressed if anything were to happen to me. Like, Candace Owens will go ham. And Candace Owens is probably going to become the biggest podcaster in the world over the next 5 years. So I've already gone on a lot of podcasts where there's no way to suppress this anymore. It's coming one way or another. Okay, let's look at equation number 7 down here. Okay? Let's look at these equations. How do we know if they cloned you? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know how you can tell. I haven't got my Scarlett Johansson clone yet, so I'm skeptical of the cloning, because if they could clone Scarlett Johansson, I would have given me a Scarlett Johansson clone like a year ago to make this go away. So the fact that they have it, kind of suspicious, right? Put on the Ning Lee papers. No, I'm not going to do Ning Lee papers tonight. We don't have time for that tonight, guys. But we can possibly do that later. I mean, I know all about Ning Lee. I have her papers. I have all of her papers, actually. I have all of her papers. So maybe we look at that on Monday. I don't know. I'll try to figure that out. Is that even a YouTube? I don't know. What is the Ning Lee papers? Is that, you mean like the actual scientific papers, or is that a video? Someone let me know. Okay, anyway, going back to this, I want to talk about these equations, 7, 8, and 9, okay? So equations 7, 8, and 9, you can see the numbers right over here. Absolutely huge. If we consider adding to the equation representing a simple harmonic motion again, vibration, on a energy momentum pumping, so pumping energy, negative dampening term, BV, endemic of system acceleration. So they're saying if we create a harmonic acceleration, then we can maybe pump energy into our system. Oh, there's my Scarlett Johansson clone, chat. There she is. She's real. Apparently clones are real. Namely, the speed of the vibrating mass. It can be shown that the maximum of the total energy of the vibrating system can be written like this. E equals the mass times R squared. What's R squared again? R squared is it's right here. The operational time for which electrically charged system is operated at, oh no, wait, up here. That's the axial spin, the angular frequency of vibration and the axillary spin. Okay, that's the axillary spin. So the spin and the frequency, that's what these numbers are. R is the spin, omega is the frequency. Look at what these numbers say, chat. Very simple. Omega squared, R squared. Oh yeah, effective system radius. What does this mean? This means as you increase the frequency, the energy goes up exponentially. Why? Because omega is the frequency and the energy relationship is exponential. Exponential. Let me repeat that. As you increase the frequency, the energy goes up exponentially because the frequency squared equals the energy. Are you listening? Are you listening to what I just said? Increase the frequency and the energy goes up exponentially. Exponential growth of energy is always very, very, very scary. Being able to increase energy exponentially. People wonder, Ashton, why do you think we can create a black hole? Why do you think we can create a black hole superweapon? Well, I'm looking at the equations and it says right there, the energy is going to go up exponentially as we increase the frequency. Wow. Yeah, that's how you get bombs, chat. That's how you get bombs. You don't need to be a PhD physicist to understand that if you increase something exponentially and it increases energy exponentially, that's dangerous. That's very, very scary. Bot ligament. Yes, your chats are showing up. The chats are very, very fast. Okay. So where omega is the angular frequency of vibration under this condition, blah, 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 because the EM energy flux is directly proportional to ET, we observe that there will be an exponential growth in energy flux with accelerating vibration, especially under the condition of rapid acceleration transients. So what is he saying right there? He's saying, increase your vibration. The more you increase this vibration, the more the energy level is going up. Now, what is the analogy? The analogy is breaking a wine glass. How is it that we can break a wine glass with sound? Right? Imagine this was a wine glass, or actually, here's a glass right here. How do we break this glass with sound? Frequency, right? You increase frequency, if I keep spinning around this faster and faster and faster, eventually, boosh, this glass is going to shatter. That's energy being increased exponentially. Take that same analogy and apply it to space-time all around us. That's all we have to do. So when people ask, oh boy, why do you think you can produce a super weapon? Well, we now know that you can produce energy straight from the vacuum. In the video we just watched of Eugene Mallove, he said when he realized that cold fusion was real, Eugene Mallove realized over unity devices were real. Remember the clip I just played of Eugene Mallove? When he was talking about over unity and electromagnetism, he was talking about magnetic motors. So Eugene Mallove realized that there was excess energy coming out of cold fusion. That's free energy. He realized it must be coming from somewhere. And he said, this opens the door to magnetic motors, over unity devices. Over unity is free energy. More energy out than what you're getting in. That's over unity. That's free energy. For the record, I am extremely familiar with Ning Lee's story. I haven't talked about her that much in like a year, but yes, she was legit, chat. She was legit. She figured it out as well. Lots of people have figured it out. Eugene Mallove also said, if you guys don't know this, 1903, then, and actually I'm going to talk about this message in a second as well. Okay. In 1903, nobody believed that you could fly a plane, that no one believed that humans could fly. In fact, it took 5 years of the Wright brothers flying around on airplanes. There was literally pictures of them flying around in the air. And the physicists at the time did not believe it was real. They did not believe it was possible. We're dealing with the same thing over again. Same thing happened in 1887 when people thought telephones were fake. You have to realize people thought telephones were fake. They thought human flight, they thought it was fake. They didn't think it was possible. Why? Because they didn't understand the laws of physics. Simple as that. They did not understand the laws of physics. If you don't understand the laws of physics, then of course, levitation seems impossible. Human flight seems impossible. Transmitting voice over wires seems impossible if you don't understand the laws of physics. So when you see me coming at PhD physicists telling them they don't understand the laws of physics, I'm not making fun of them. I'm being literal. I'm literally telling those PhD physicists they don't understand the laws of physics and they don't understand the universe. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you a video that shows that Neil deGrasse Tyson, astrophysicist, doesn't even understand the laws of physics. He makes up complete nonsense to just explain away the fact that we can't rationalize we can't even explain how our own solar system works. Guys, listen to what I just said. Our view of cosmology cannot even explain our own solar system. The planets should be flying out into outer space, into empty space, and they don't. And their rationalization is it just cancels out. What? That's actually literally the real explanation. Is that it just cancels out. Sorry. What? I might even play that here before we finish. So let me go back to this because there's more here. So we already now got that it increases exponentially. So then it says here that the vibrating mass with its vibrating charge becomes directly proportional to the square ratio, blah, 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 coupling with this. Okay, whatever that means. Let's skip to this next part here. Because he's basically saying vibration can pull this off. Moreover, due to the conical geometry of counter-spinning dynamic fusers, so counter-spinning fusers would be like this, right? Counter-spinning fusers. The plasma fluid will assume the shape of vortex structures. Well, that's interesting because it looks like we're looking at a vortex structure in the MH370 videos. And yes, it's creating a pinch effect, right? Just like we see in outer space, where you see this pinch effect come together. Considering the free force vortex expression, curl V equals AV times V, where V is the plasma fluid velocity and AV is a constant, which under certain conditions can be far greater than 1, we can write this equation here. Don't worry if you don't understand what this equation means. It says it right here. Where RV is the effective vortex radius, so that RV goes to 0, AV becomes a B field, that's a magnetic field amplification factor, which mathematically can go to infinity. The B field, the magnetic field amplification factor, can go to infinity. Now, chat, I don't know about you, but I was taught that an infinity is like a really big number. So now we're talking about we can have an exponential growth of energy and our magnetic field can be amplified through oscillation, vibration to infinity. Straight up infinity. Now I get it. Now do you understand? Like, if we can produce a black hole or wormhole, then why can't we produce a black hole? In fact, I start to wonder, are we even sure that we know what a black hole really is? A lot of people say that a wormhole is possible. A wormhole is possible, but we need this huge amount of energy, this massive amount of energy. But now we've seen that a wormhole is absolutely possible. So whatever amount of energy is required, we know we can do it because we're staring at it right here. We're staring at it right here in this video. This is enough energy to produce a wormhole. And Sal even says in that clip I showed earlier that this is a black hole in his opinion. And that wherever that energy is, it's got to go somewhere else. It's got to go somewhere else. So potentially we can pull enough energy out where we can create a wormhole. The big question is, can we turn that into a self-sustaining black hole? So somebody asked in the question, how do you not prevent the collapse? Like in the case of the wormhole, the orbs are going through the wormhole as well. The orbs are gone as well. So if we were producing a black hole, we would need something constantly shooting down on it. So the difference, in order to produce a black hole that's not going to go away, what I would expect that we would do is instead of having our localized orbs that are spinning around the plane and they converge on the plane, I would want to be shooting lasers from outer space that are constantly shooting down onto a same point. Basically making your wormhole perpetually open. Perpetually open. That's probably the difference. Is the difference between the wormhole is that the orbs are going through the wormhole, therefore the wormhole closes, as opposed to if we want to turn it into a black hole that stays open, we would want these orbs to not go through the wormhole. We want them shooting down, which means we need like a directed energy weapon, basically, that's shooting down at them. So exactly, here we go. External pumping effect. There you go. So basically you would create an external pumping effect which outweighs the natural resistance and energy dissipation. Exactly. So when you're talking about energy dissipation, we're talking about Hawking radiation or black body radiation, where the energy is radiating out. You need the energy to stay confined long enough so that you can maintain your black hole or your wormhole. And this is where your powerful lasers become very, very useful. Because remember, as the frequency, or as the frequency goes up, then your energy level is going up as well. Potentially exponentially, as we just saw there. So these lasers, as they get more and more powerful, we are surpassing CERN, the Large Hadron Collider. That shit's obsolete. Attosecond lasers are more powerful than CERN. They're more powerful than the Large Hadron Collider. And remember, people were terrified of the Large Hadron Collider producing a black hole. They were terrified of it with good cause. So now we've got something that's significantly more powerful than the Large Hadron Collider. And if we keep it shooting continuously, pulse laser constantly, we can probably produce a black hole that way. I think these weapons are already deployed. I'm going to say that again. I think these weapons are already deployed. I think that we have these types of radars. We would call it a radar, but it's going to shoot an electromagnetic pulse or potentially a laser. And we can probably shoot them down from satellites in outer space. And you have them go onto a single focus point and constantly beam the energy down there in a pulse. Black hole. Say goodbye to the planet, chat. Why 3 orbs? Because you need to surround a 3-dimensional object. 2 orbs isn't enough. 2 orbs only creates a line. You need to create a triangle. Why? Because the triangle can encompass the plane. And we don't need a 4th orb. I always struggle with this. Like, if I have an object, let's take this lighter, pretend like this lighter is the plane. You might say, well, you need a 4th orb to make a box around it, right? Make a box. But no, we can just do it with a triangle. Well, we can just do it with a triangle, and we can have our plane in the middle of it. Why? Because the electromagnetic field that's going to be generated when the orbs come together is going to produce a 3-dimensional effect. It's automatically going to produce a 3-dimensional effect. So we don't need to have another orb that determines like this other side of it. Once they create this triangle, it's going to create a field all around the triangle, and then turn to the side. It's going to make a sphere of energy. That's why we only need 3. 3 is the minimum number you need to pull this off. 3 is the minimum number. Okay, last video of the night, guys. Pretty wild, chat. Okay, last one. We're going to watch this. Fourth orb for black hole? No, not necessarily. I think fourth orb is required for teleportation so that you know where you're going to go. It's that you've got your 3 orbs here. God, this sucks. And I'm trying to create my black hole or create my wormhole. You got your 3 orbs over here on my plane. And then you let it go. And then it's going to go to the 4th orb over here. So 4 orbs seems like the minimum requirement for teleportation. 3 orbs if you want to create a wormhole around a location. And if you want to create a perpetual black hole, you might only need 2. You might only need 2. Because if you're creating a perpetual black hole, you don't really care about encapsulating the entire plane or whatever the object is. You just need to make a black hole. You don't care the shape of it. As long as you can make that self-sustaining black hole, that thing's going to wipe out the planet. Going to wipe out the planet, chat. Let's see here. Okay, so let's go to this. So we're going to watch our buddy, our favorite buddy, Danny Jones here, because he's going to talk about these plasmas. Here we go.
The M just stands for microwave amplification, stimulated emission radiation. But now we really have guns like that. And the Navy just had hooked up a big argon laser that shoots down missiles on their ships. So you can see the beginnings oftentimes.
What is there's something called like Project Blue Beam?
Yeah, good one.
What is that?
That's
lasers, right?
I'm gonna fast forward this.
Yeah, I can actually talk about that one, but that is it's really bad. But you know the people that see orbs in the sky.
Yeah,
go around and fly faster.
UFOs.
UFOs.
Yeah, there's Navy pilots. There's multiple Navy pilots who talk about. They got there, so they were flying F-18s. These Navy pilots, and one of them's coming in here in 2 weeks. He's Ryan Graves.
Okay.
He's a Navy pilot flying off the coast of North Carolina, and they got their radar upgraded on their F-18s, and all of a sudden they were seeing these things darting around on their radar.
I want to address that, and we're gonna keep going on this, but it does kind of make sense. They got a radar upgrade, and all of a sudden, they're seeing orbs. Huh. What if the radar upgrade somehow found a way to detect these plasmas, where normally the radar would bounce off the plasma, and they upgraded it so that if it bounces off the plasma, it can still show you that it's bouncing off the plasma. That actually seems like a pretty legit theory. Maybe this is why all of a sudden all these UFOs were showing up on these radar upgrades. They upgraded the radars knowing they were looking for the plasmas. Yeah, maybe it was a quantum radar type thing that they did, like Hal Puthoff's patent, right? Maybe they upgraded it. And now all of a sudden the pilots are freaking out because they're like, what the hell am I seeing now? I'm seeing all these balls of plasma that are around there. And Sibbers potentially has it as well, right? Sibbers might have it as well. Let's go to, where's this one? Okay, here we go.
Okay. Don't tell him what I'm about to say and see if he knows about it.
Okay.
So what we do is we play with our own forces, make sure our trickery will work on the enemy. And those are directed energy weapons of where.
Okay, well, that guy just explained the drone situation, right? We're playing tricks on our own forces to see if it will work on our enemy. That was actually one of the main narratives. This video is 2 years old, by the way. This video is 2 years old. That was one of the narratives that was being pushed with this whole drone situation. In fact, yeah, pause, chat, pause. There was another video that I haven't shared of some army guy saying we're chasing these orbs around, is what the guy said. He's like, aliens are here. It's not aliens. We're producing these things. And we are playing games on our own law enforcement and our own military to try to figure out how we would respond, to figure out how our adversary will respond to the same thing. And this is in context of Project Bluebeam. This I actually 100% agree with this guy on. And I've agreed with this guy. I didn't never watch this before, but this is what I thought a year ago. And this is why it's a psyop. It's literally a psyop. Most people that look at these balls of energy are going to think that it's aliens because it just looks so weird. And then you realize, oh, no, we can just produce these with lasers. Like Sal said, we might not even need lasers to produce these things. Wild.
Where we do intersecting beams or focus beams into the atmosphere, and notice they're always in the atmosphere, to excite the electron orbitals of the oxygen and nitrogen in our atmosphere, and it causes a glow and it causes ionization. That ionization shows up on radar,
No.
and it's like a cat laser pointer.
That last part was wrong. That last part was wrong. The plasma's actually, radar bounces off plasma. And that's why we can bounce our over-the-horizon radar off of the ionosphere, which is plasma, because actually the radar will bounce off plasma. So this guy's pretty on the point, but I don't think he's really like deep into the physics. He's just repeating what he was told. Maybe he has classified information that he knows about. I'm not sure. But part of this is where this guy kind of goes off the rails a little bit.
Pointer, and we're making planes chase them.
That's exactly how they describe these things moving, like laser pointers.
Yeah, and so we can do it in free space. We can make it look like
in three-dimensional space.
Yeah, and we can make it look like an entire fleet is about to drop bombs on, let's say, Europe, and then just have them disappear. And they get all their planes up in the air, and we attack them from the other direction, assuming we're attacking.
Who is doing this? The Navy, you said?
Somebody. Let's just say a group. A group.
Let's just say a group. So here's the big rub about this. This situation, these are not just holographic projections. No. There's been a massive amount of misinformation. And yes, whoever pointed out the Tim Pool thing, they talked about this. And this is where Tim Pool's kind of an idiot. And because everybody read the same Forbes articles, there's 2 Forbes articles not related to me, 2 Forbes articles about this plasma from 2020 and 2021. I know Ian Crossland read it because he talks about talking plasma. The problem is these guys don't really understand what we're dealing with here because they don't understand EVOs. That's the big issue. So these guys thought that these things are some illusion that's being created. No, plasma is a real physical phenomenon. The same way where I can burn myself with this lighter. It's not an illusion. It's a real thing. Plasma is not a hologram. And this is where these people don't understand physics and they don't understand science, unfortunately. That's the misinformation, that this is just, we're just producing these holograms. They're not real. No, it's 100% real, and they have real physical effects, and they have a massive amount of charge in them as well. And we can stabilize them so they're self-sustaining. Think about that. They're self-sustaining, which means we can produce it and it can just float around freely and it's not going to dissipate. That's not an illusion. That's a real phenomenon that's being created. And yes, they can trick people and you can use them as countermeasures. But using it as a countermeasure is kind of like stupid when it has the ability to literally teleport something. It's like, oh, it's a countermeasure. Yeah, well, it's also a thing that can teleport objects and a thing that can give us free energy. It's like, countermeasure is kind of down here. Teleportation is like up here, and free energy is like way up here in terms of like how insignificant these effects are. So, of course, they're happy to tell us that, oh, it's just a projection. That's what they want us to think. They don't want us to know that, oh, no, we can use these to teleport Boeing 777s and pull infinite energy from the vacuum. It's a pretty stark difference there. So I think he says one more thing. Let's see.
And you know this for a fact.
I know for a fact. Yeah. So anyway, don't tell your guests.
A group within the U.S. government.
Yeah. Okay. We'll leave it at that. Yes.
And is this something?
It's the fucking CIA, man. It's the CIA and the defense contractors. That's the deep state. That's the people that are doing this bullshit. That's the Project Bluebeam. The Ron Pandolfis of the world almost for sure know about this shit. I think they were probably sicking their little attack dog, Jack Sarfati, on me. He's their little pet physicist that his whole point is to like misinform people about how physics works. That's like Jack Sarfati's whole deal. That's who's doing this shit. It's the deep state. 100%. Covert, administrative elite, whatever the hell you want to call them.
Is this something that could be seen with the naked eye? Or
yes,
is this something
because
that
it glows. It glows. So it would be seeable. You can see it by the naked eye, and it would leave a radar trace. So it's perfect as a deception.
And now, have you heard of the accounts?
So again, I'm pretty sure this guy just read the Forbes articles that talk about talking plasma, and he's interpreting what he read as his own beliefs. Maybe he has some other additional information. And why do I say that? Because I know for a fact you can modulate or tune the frequency so that it can change color. You change the frequency, change the wavelength, and you're going to change the color of your orb. You heard me correctly. This means these orbs can be multiple, they can be different colors, and they can potentially be invisible to the naked eye. Invisible. These orbs of plasma can theoretically be invisible. That's big. So they might be floating around out there and we can't even see them. In the MH370 video, the pilot might not have been able to see the orbs. The passengers might not even be able to see the orbs. Can you imagine you're flying in your plane and then all of a sudden, zap, now you're just at Diego Garcia or some shit like that? Holy crap. So what the NASA podcast, if you didn't watch the NASA podcast from Monday, check it out. They said that you can either optically cloak or cloak on radar, but not both. So you could use it to cloak radar, or you could use it to cloak, or you could use it to cloak in infrared or to cloak in optical, but you can't have it do both at the same time. Two different modes, because it's going to be based on the frequency of the oscillation in your standing wave. Incredible, right, guys? I think that's all we needed to see from that one. Let's watch for like another 30 seconds just to see if I missed anything.
So these things going underwater, these things come out of the water, zip around, they fly. There's been accounts of these things going in between when there's two F-18s flying in formation. One of them, they're described as, one of them specifically, which Ryan Graves describes as a sphere with a cube inside, and each apex of the cube is touching the sphere.
Okay, no, I don't know.
That's good enough. I don't need it. I've had enough Danny Jones for one day. So they can also be transmedium. So they can pull the hydrogen out of the atmosphere. They can most likely also use the hydrogen in the water as well. Transmedium, chat. So now we know these things are also transmedium as well. Why is the military filming in infrared and thermal? Well, now we know. They can see these plasma orbs. That's the point. Because they know that plasma is the next level of the technology. This is why we're not filming in optical anymore. So this tells me that we've been filming in FLIR in forward-looking infrared since at least the 90s. So these things probably go back many decades. I think we can easily tie these orbs back to the early 90s, and it may go even further back than that. Some people will yell at me and say, well, what about the Foo Fighters? Guys, we can't definitively say anything about stuff that happened in the 20s. I get so tired of people saying, well, somebody told me a story. Stories are not hard evidence. They're fun, but they're not hard evidence. So we start talking about stuff from like 100 years ago, about stories people heard 100 years. That's not hard evidence. It might be true, but there's no point. You can't make a definitive statement that, oh, people were seeing these orbs in 1920s. Yes, it's a fun story. The Foo Fighters is a fun story. Maybe it's true. It's too long ago for us to make definitive declarations about those were the same plasma orbs. We don't know. We have no idea. Yes, it's possible there's alien phenomenon, non-human intelligence phenomenon, breakaway civilization. We don't have definitive data to figure that out. But what we do know is we have this now. No question whatsoever. We have this plasma technology right now. I showed you guys a video from 15 years ago. I'm going to play it again. This video is from 15 years ago using femtosecond lasers producing ball lightning.
Okay, so what is the column there like that?
I'm going to mute it because that sound is super annoying. And the ball lightning is the tiny little white thing you're going to see over this blue thing here. That tiny white dot you see there is the ball lightning. It's being expanded and projected onto the wall so that you can see it much more clearly. That's it right there. You're staring at it. That's the ball lightning. Now imagine that the U.S. military can produce these 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times bigger than this. Or that the defense contractors can produce these 1,000,000 times bigger than this. That's what we're dealing with respect to the MH370 videos. They've figured out how to take these and potentially produce them without lasers at all, stabilize them either using vortices or oscillation, and they can stabilize these plasmas at a large size. Guys, the MH370 video plasma orbs are like, they're like 20 feet in diameter. You hear that buzzing? That's the frequency of the laser. That's the frequency. It's a pulse frequency of a laser. This is 100% real. The debunkers are probably having a panic attack right now because they're starting to realize the feeling is starting to creep in that their lives have been a lie and that Ashton Forbes was right. Well, I want to let you know, chat, you're going to hear a lot more about it. Ashton Forbes is right. Get used to hearing that phrase, chat, because you're going to be hearing it for decades to come. There's going to be no denying it. I've set myself up at this point where there's no denying the science. People were saying all this stuff is real a year ago, and we've proven it all. We've got videos out there that show exactly that this stuff is 100% real. That was ball lightning suspended in midair using garage-level engineering lasers. That's home production stuff. Like, even though those are like $20,000 to make to produce those lasers, that's nothing compared to what the U.S. military, U.S. intelligence agencies, and the private military contractors have. That's like little child's toys compared to what those people have. This is what Salvatore Pais has been saying for all this time. That's what they've been saying. He's been saying that we can produce these balls of plasma. They can break the Schwinger limit due to the massive charge density involved in them. Sal probably knows way, way, way more than he said as well. Okay, guys. Well, I like how controversial and polarizing this topic is, because here's the truth, guys. And if you make stuff like this, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna get yourself booted off my channel. So don't do that. I think it's hilarious how upset these people get. People get so upset because they think that I'm the one who's discovered this. I've never claimed to discover any of this stuff. People are upset because they're jealous as shit. You see this in the UFO community where we've given them full disclosure. These people have spent their whole lives trying to figure out UFOs and they've accomplished nothing. You have scientists and engineers that are out there that have never pushed the ball forward at all. And that's not my fault. That's not my fault at all. I realized that this is an information war. And I'm an influencer in the information war. That's all that I'm doing. That you could argue that role is more important than figuring out the science. Sure, you figured out science. Great. Go ahead. Good luck convincing people. Do you guys want to know why Larry Reed won't talk to anybody? Why is Larry Reed not doing interviews everywhere? The guy that wrote Quantum Wave Mechanics. Why is he not doing public interviews? The reason why he's not doing public interviews is because he doesn't want to deal with the idiots that are out there. He doesn't want to go out there and listen to all the goddamn morons who are going, oh, this is all fake. This isn't real. You need to show it to me. You need to produce something for me. Larry Reed spent 24 years at Lockheed Martin. He doesn't want to give a shit about all the morons and debunkers out there that are like literally too stupid to tie their shoes together. He doesn't want to waste 1 second on those idiots. This is what I've been saying. Why don't the engineers come out? Because they've decided that humans are too stupid to even accept this information. Humans are so goddamn dumb. It's ridiculous. Like, we will see, like, we have people that, like, unimpeachable credentials that have worked on black projects, and our standard of proof is the goalposts are they constantly shifting. They're just on wheels, the goalposts. It's like, okay, so you can explain quantum mechanics. Okay, well, why didn't you produce a device and make $1 trillion? This is the situation. This is why we are so stuck. And the system is set up this way intentionally. The system is set up this way intentionally. The intelligence communities know that as long as they classify the devices hide the devices, never allow them to be seen on CNN, that people will always have doubt. They will always doubt it. And if they're always doubting it, then it can never get out. This is why suppression is so easy. The suppression is trivial. People wonder, how could they hide all this? People would come out. No, they don't. In fact, I know for a fact that they don't want to come out. Hal Puthoff even said he's never going to testify. Hal Puthoff is never going to testify, even though we know he knows the truth. He's never going to testify because he would go to prison. He said that on James Fox's documentary, which I have not watched and I'm not going to watch because I hear it's trash. But I saw the clip of Hal Puthoff saying that. So I want you guys to realize this. Academia is like 50 years or more behind the defense contractors. That's how far behind. You could even argue 100 years behind. Like, it's actually just disgusting what's been going on. So no, I didn't discover any of this, but I'm an influencer for it, and I've found the answers, and I'm going to promote the hell out of it everywhere I see it. And we're going to tear down every single institution that stands in our way. Every single institution, every single one of these woke disclosure douchebags, any of them standing in my way, we're going to strip them bare and show them naked to the world as the frauds that they are. People that have never, ever accomplished anything in their lives, never pushed the ball forward on disclosure. All it took was a marketing major who had the will and audacity to look into 2 videos that everybody in the world was saying was fake and find out that, nope, the videos are real, and this is the true fate of MH370. This is the technology that we're hiding. It's plasma, non-equilibrium cold plasmas known as exotic vacuum objects. Let's hit these last donations and let's close it up for tonight, guys. Whew. Okay. Oh boy. Rebel, thank you very much for that donation. John Bendini. Yes, I know John Bendini. I don't know the other guy. John Bendini was definitely legit. I can say that with some pretty deep certainty just from having watched his videos. A lot of those like over Unity / free energy devices guys were legit. And we just dismissed them because we didn't understand physics. We did not understand physics. And so we just assumed that what they were doing had to be impossible. Guys, if you think that you've seen Dark Ashton, just wait until you see me just literally destroying PhD physicists. I am going to shred academic PhD physicists like I'm just putting butter on toast. It's going to be disgusting, chat. I'm just getting started. This only took me a year to get to this point. Just wait. It's going to get worse. Dave, PNW, thank you for hanging out for a very long time. I know you've been with us for a long time. Keep up the good work. I think history will remember you well. Maybe. The problem is, who writes the history? The victors write the history. So there's no guarantee. But at this point, I'm already vindicated. Like, I already know this stuff's real. So we found more than enough evidence at this point. But thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. Roger, wow, thank you for that $20 donation. You need to go on Jesse Michaels' show. He's talked about branches of physics being hidden from us and Eric Weinstein's. Yeah, I don't control any of that stuff, guys. I know for a fact, just from watching Jesse Michaels' stuff, that he is directly connected to a lot of the weirdos and the woke disclosure people that hate me, and that's fine. I imagine he's under a lot of pressure not to talk to me. He can do whatever he wants. I really don't care, honestly. Like, guys, just to let you know, I don't care about which podcast I go on or whatever. In fact, I'm considering just stopping doing podcasts for a while because I'm kind of tired of it. And I think we've got the case solidified. It takes a lot of energy for me to go on these podcasts. And a lot of people just want me to repeat the same stuff over and over and over again. So I don't know. We might stop. We'll see. But if Jesse were to invite me, I'd probably go on it. But yeah, the thing is, though, too, is if I go on Jesse Michaels, I'm going to eviscerate all his friends. So that's up to him. I'm going to eviscerate, all those dudes, all the woke disclosure guys, James Fox, Ross Coulthard, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Lou Elizondo, Gary Nolan. I'm going to eviscerate them all on his podcast. 100% guaranteed. I love Purple Things. Don't stop talking about it. I actually want to repost the letter to Ashton Forbes. and superimpose some graphics over it so it like is even more crazy. So I might work on that this weekend. Yeah, most people, Eric Spencer, thank you very much for this donation. Most people are upset because of the ontological shock, right? And they assume, right, that if their choice is either they've been lied to by every single authority figure in their life, their entire lives, or I'm a liar. That's the dichotomy, right? It's got to be one of those two things. So a lot of these people, cognitive dissonance kicks in and they go, I can't have been lied to my whole life. That's not possible. Ashton Forbes just must be a liar. I'm not a liar. I've never been a liar, guys. If I wanted to lie, I could. I've played poker a lot. I know how that works. But the whole point of all of this is to see, you see me at my most vulnerable. You see me make mistakes. You see that I'm not the good guy. I'm not out here trying to present myself as something more than I am. I'm just a dude. Okay, guys, any last thoughts here? What's the next step in pushing the facts? We just keep going, guys. So what we're doing here is we are turning the heat up. We're turning the heat up. We're boiling the frog a little bit. Or a better analogy, we're backing them into a corner. There is going to be no disclosure without admitting the MH370 videos are real. Why? Because if you want disclosure, you have to admit that there's warp drive and wormholes. If you want disclosure, you have to admit that the secret is plasma. And who's the person that's been revealing all this information? This guy. Well, you guys as well, but all of us, right? So we've got them trapped. And this was intentional. If you go back to my live streams a year ago, you can see that I said, I'm going to prove the science is real. And when the science is proven real, there will be no excuses about the videos anymore. So we've got the UFO people trapped, the people that refuse to look at these videos, the people that know the videos are real but are lying or staying silent about them. There is no path for them to move forward. We're playing a strategy game against them where they have no moves left except for to admit and corroborate the videos like Lou Elizondo has been forced to do, where he starts talking about warp drives. Then Glenn Beck says, well, what about that guy that said that's what we did to MH370? We've trapped them. There's nothing they can do. Now we wait. Because any move they play will automatically corroborate the videos because we know the videos are real. Fun play, right? I don't want a Nobel Prize. I want Hal Puthoff to get the Nobel Prize that he deserves. I want my Pulitzer. You give me that Pulitzer, and then we do a live stream, MH370X exclusive live stream, and I rip that Pulitzer up on live stream just to show that the media is worth nothing, just to show that academia is a joke, just to show that the government does perpetuate and commit conspiracies and horrific acts. I just now got this. Thank you for that donation, Tundra. I'm not going to repeat that because I don't need to attack people anymore. Yeah, the Matt Bell live. So I actually would recommend watching Matt Bell if you're new and you want to get caught up on the case and the information. Watch Matt Bell. Watch Hodge Twins, watch Candace Owens, and keep a lookout for the Redacted podcast that's going to be dropping probably in the next week, guys. Redacted podcast, talking about 0 point energy, talking about free energy, talking about plasma. Now that you guys have seen this live stream and the ones that we did this week, you're going to watch that and be like, oh, he's 100% on point. 100% on point. Okay, guys. Awesome live stream. Y'all have a great night. Have a great weekend. We'll meet up again on Monday. I don't currently have a Hard Truths scheduled for this weekend, but I have an amazing Hard Truths next weekend. You guys are not going to want to miss it. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'll give you a hint. I'm going to give you a hint. And you'll not be able to figure it out from the hint probably, but I'll say that this person has talked about time travel before. This person's talked about time travel. That's all that I'm going to say. You guys can figure it out. You guys can guess. It's going to be an awesome conversation. I can't wait to talk to them. Okay. You guys have a great night, guys. We will talk on Monday. Peace out, everybody.
Out in the fields where the skies are wide. Talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space. Traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight. Just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate. Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy. Travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy. Travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeeze so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course. Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy. Travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow. Thin shell formalism plates so fine. Spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Forces balancing the plate, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound, a shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy. Travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow. From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear.